Mm. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Uh-huh. Is it true what the sages have said? Yes. That Those who turn inwards and stay inwards are always happy. Antarmukhi sada sukhi. Is it true like that? I don't know. It's big things. What's your experience? So for a moment, if you were to presume it's true, then what superpower is that? What must we have turned towards so that facing which we are free from suffering? Could it be that we turn towards flesh and bones and blood, and that led us to live in contentment? Not likely, isn't it? So what is that inside which is different from the insides which a surgeon may see or an X-ray may see? Hmm. What is that space, and where does it actually exist? When we turn towards the sun, we experience its light and heat, and we have the effect of facing the sun, which is in the form of we may get tanned or some other effect. The temperature may go up. But what is there on the inside, and why is that given so much importance? You find that there's a light inside? Yes? Yeah. It's a mystery, no? That light. We feel to say yes, but if questioned, I don't know. But we are not confused like that about the sun. We are looking at the sun. We should be actually, but we are not confused about. So why is it so confusing? What is there on the inside? Not an object. No. Yes. Yes. If I were to tell you, we don't know. I say, how do you know? You saw it. Then seeing is believing. That's how they say. Uh, what if I was to say we are all fooling ourselves? It is just bodily sensations that we experience. There is no other inside but the body. Somehow something is there. We turn inwards like that and we find peace. Then, what do you actually see? That should be the question from my eyes, isn't it? So from the mind. It's nothing. You just made a mountain out of nothing, called it God, and just wasting your life fooling yourselves. See? Yes, all of it. Now the mic is working for the Zooms.
And one way to saying if everything is about seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, and what is it that does all of that?
Yeah.
Most people, I've not met anybody with an answer to that.
Yes.
Either they don't even get the question,
Yeah.
and if they do, they're bewildered. So, yeah, I don't know how else to
You
answer.
don't get the question, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Then a small percentage may be bewildered and yet not interested. And a very small percentage may say, oh, this is worth investigating. But I'm asking all of you, how is it that you know? It is said that God prays in my heart. How do you know? Not in the neti, but in the positive affirmation. How do you know? Huh? Can't control what? But how do you know of this light before we get to control or not? How you know? What is its color? Is it like the sun? Is it like a tube light? Is it like a lamp? Yeah.
If I use any tool to go close to it in that sense.
How you know it? Sensation? Intuition is what? I think about something and it comes true tomorrow. That is intuition. Yeah. Mind can't find, but how you find it? Uh-huh. How do you know you're not fooling yourselves, and how do you know I'm not fooling all of you?
Father, we could be confused about everything. We could be confused whether even this room is real. This may be a simulation and so on and so forth. But what we can't be confused about is that something is happening here.
Something is happening here. Something is happening.
Something is happening. Whether it's real, unreal, I mean, I could be confused about that.
Yeah.
But what I can't be confused about is something is happening. So if something is happening, it's happening somewhere. And the first person experience is real. I can't deny that. Whether this may be a simulation or real or not, I don't know. But the fact that something is being experienced here is undeniable. And
I'm just saying, through in what way is it experienced?
I think we've hit the wall of that which is experiencing. Where will it experience is a dead end in a way.
In terms of language.
In terms of language.
Now that is where faith becomes a confusing word. You see? Because you could say, I know that God is in my heart or praise in my heart because I trust you. Yeah? And because I trust you, then I have to just blindly follow. And maybe that has some tiny place in a satsang life. But there is a bigger faith than this conceptual faith, which is that, oh, I follow your words because I know somehow that you are speaking the truth. What is the bigger faith? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you missed the question, Acha. So I said most of humanity calls this faith that somebody who's a teacher or credible for us, a spiritual teacher especially, they have said, therefore it is true. Or a scripture has said, therefore it is true. Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita, therefore it is true. Huh? So maybe there is some place for that initially. But what is the different kind of faith that being in satsang has led us to?
Experience that makes it that being without this, that the life before this is definitely a pale comparison. Okay, and I think that that is something that makes it very clear. And sometimes I feel also that suppose this is not real and that's real, I don't care anymore because this makes me feel fantastic. You know, I wouldn't trade it.
So then,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that. And may it never be so, but suppose tomorrow it doesn't feel that good. Then
Yeah. Like the weather.
very good. But what about the truthiness part of it? Are you able to? It's too abstract today. We were talking about faith. And is faith based on circumstantial evidence, empirical evidence of phenomenal things changing in our life? Or is faith based on something deeper, which is why great sages sometimes had to undergo great outer suffering, you see, and yet did not lose faith. So is that faith just in a teacher's words? Then what is that faith about?
There is an awareness of the without. The teacher keeps pointing towards to look within without.
She's
And that is
playing my game
awareness.
right now. No? She's playing my game. हाँ? आपको कैसे पता कुछ है अंदर? How do you know that there's something inside?
कोई बाहर का नहीं रहता, बाहर का नहीं रहता.
That's a negation, no? So I said not through a negation,
Oh, Ananta.
but through a assertion, maybe. Huh? A presence is felt. Huh? Presence is known. How is it known? You think there is presence, so it's thinking. You perceive this presence like the silhouette of Ram or Jesus or Allah. Is there this? The shape is there. Fragrance is there. Is faith about the fragrance? In a way, could be. Could be. Taste. Tasted love. Tasted love. Okay. Love, in this case, a felt love or a tasted love is like the fragrance. It is very beautiful. But all these ones have told us that there is a deeper love than even the felt love. So how are they saying all of this? Are they just imagining stuff? But then they're relying on Atma-Jnana or self-knowledge or intuitive insight, like she said. Isn't it? Now this intuitive insight, Atma-Jnana, what does the mind make out of it? Yeah. Suppose we prayed for 1 hour and it was a beautiful session, so-called beautiful session. Actually, a distracted session may be more beautiful, but suppose it was just smooth, no distraction, just beautiful inquiry or beautiful remembrance or love for God. And we come out of that, what are we left with? Some nice feelings, some sense of peace. Is that what it was about? So then if it doesn't happen that day, then it was bad sadhana. Yes? So what is it about? You're curious, you may go in that direction, you may see what is there, and you may, if you find that there is nothing, you come back. No? Now to stay there, which to the mind and to the perceptions is empty, is it? Needs something deeper than curiosity, because how long will you check? 60 years? So are we saying that till ultimately there is a perceived experience, till then in our process of prayer we are not gaining anything? In our process of contemplation, Didhyasana, inquiry, we are not really getting anything. So is it true that in Ma Shabri's story, there's 60 years of sadhana where she didn't get anything and ultimately she got? Is that what the story is about? It sounds like that. Huh? Some outcome. So the story sounds like that. So is the bhakti of Ram, is the inquiry into the truth not worth it for itself also, even if it didn't have an outcome? Able to meet the question? You say Ram, Ram, Ram. Now, was that remembrance of God worth it only if I had a nice feeling or some spark of light or some sense of love? Is it not worth it in itself? More worth it than anything else, maybe. I don't want to push you towards this, you see. But I feel like many of us may get into that mode that this is the railway station, not satsang, but the inside, the empty space in your heart is the railway station. You're one day waiting for the train to come. And that is what leads to all the frustration, all the impatience. So if you were told that standing in the sun is pointless unless it shows up in your vitamin D report. Imagine the winter of Delhi or not Bangalore. Just want to stand there. For what reason do we stand facing inwards? You know, the mic?
One example that comes to mind is like the Truman Show. Seemingly, the character has a very soon as he starts getting a sense that this is not real, he prefers to go into the unknown oblivion almost in an upset way, simply because it's not true. And if I think like as an example in my life, let's say I have a relationship with a woman and everything seems perfect, but then let's say she's cheating with somebody and I don't know, but then I have a choice. Is it okay if I live my full life like that in oblivion? Or would I want to know and then destroy my life? I would prefer the latter. I don't know why. There's just a preference for truth, not comfort. In a hierarchy, it just seems implicit without a.
Yeah. So, in what way is that truth found?
It's actually what I do is I went blank. I forgot what I was going to say.
All right, that's all right. So, it's confusing only because we're used to our senses and our thinking. So, when a question is asked like that, it puts you on the spot. And because it seems like our modes of knowledge are just our senses and our thinking, there is no way to positively confirm God's presence and the reality of the self. You see? So then is the statement that I am Brahman itself, is it based on a negative inference? That I cannot be anything else and therefore I am Brahman itself. The negative practice is meant to bring us to a positive realization. Not positive in terms of positive feeling, but positive in terms of positive recognition, positive insight. Does she need a blanket? Cool. That's fine. So is it that we say not the world, not the body, not my emotions, not my senses, not my feelings, not any of this, not even ultimately the sense of presence. And then therefore my intellect can conclude that I am Brahman or I am that. So the not helps us get to the place where the recognition of this truth of oneness with the highest is recognized. It is not inferred. You see? So we cannot live on an inferred spirituality, although that may provide some help in terms of how to lead a life, and it may be helpful because the path itself is helpful. But the project, the quest, is for that recognition, which is also then called the divine union with the beloved. Now, the not this is useful because if you carry something of Maya into, if you carry identification into the holy place, then that identification will serve as an obstacle. So empty of me in whatever way, but standing or sitting in the light of the Atma within, humbly, lovingly and patiently, even though it may be, you may not find any perception to anchor you there. You may not find consolation for weeks saying something good is happening in your sadhana. But to stay there itself is worth it for itself. So that faith which tells you it is worth it for itself is not a mental faith or an intellectual faith. It is something beyond words that you just intuit there, sense over there. You may say, I just know in my heart that it is good. So that know in the heart is what? So that's why I was saying that because we are so used to knowing through senses and thinking, we feel like that is the only knowing there is. But the only good knowing is the knowing in the heart. In fact, the heart itself is only known by itself, in itself. Let me say it better, through itself. The knowing of in the heart, through the heart itself, tells us about the heart. How do we take off all our masks and get ready to meet God? And how will you know that that meeting happened or is happening? The sages have told us that if you remove the curtain, the beloved will be found. What is to remove the curtain? The veil. Of the me and out of the concern with what is being perceived at the moment. What is our number one concern? Is it about a perception? Make your only concern about that which is beyond perception. And there's no way your mind can find a way to worry about that. I'm saying only care about that.
Father, even in we can only do it and be there. The mind seems to always also try to appropriate that
Yeah,
with some kind of description or like, oh, I got it.
yeah.
It's become less, but it's always lingering here and there. And so try to become like Teflon where I know it's going to come, but then just not even not give it any food basically.
Yes. Exactly. The mind will hate this process. You see? But it has no power unless you give it to it. How do you give it power? With a ATM example, attention and belief. How many of you know the ATM example? Okay. Some of you haven't heard this, and we are doing a satsang flashback, it seems, in the last two satsangs. I don't know why, but there's an ATM machine which is available to all of us. Unfortunately, it is an anytime misery machine. We know what that is? What is the ATM machine? The mind. If you go to it, you get an unlimited amount of misery, but you have to do two things. The first is you put the ATM card in, which is the attention to mind card. You see? And second is you punch in your personal identification number, which is your belief. So you have to do both of these things to get misery out of the mind. Try it without it. It will not produce misery till you don't plug attention and belief into it. You see? So this terminology was tailor-made for satsang. Anytime misery through attention to mind, but also your identification that this thought belongs to me. I personally identify with the construct of that thought after I've given it my attention. So when it is said that we must just remain the witness, we've been told not to give it the belief. Just observe. Let it come and go. So you realize that all spiritual practice really is to empty ourselves of this mental mechanism and to remain maskless, naked, to receive the light of the spirit within. So when you turn inwards, are you always receiving the light of the spirit within? Yeah? That question is unanswerable. And yet, I can tell you that it is always auspicious. And that is the real reason why you come to satsang, at least the second satsang onwards. First, you may come because of some wanting to learn or some curiosity. You know. But there has to be something more than a grasping which you recognize when you come to satsang, because the play of an outer satsang is a replica of inner satsang, is a miniature replica. And so really the question is that if the Atma in its way makes this expression really mumbly and boring and absurd, and yet you sense that something other than just the hearing of the words is happening. Not that the hearing of the words is completely irrelevant. You see? but it is like the salt in the food. If your food was only salt, how would it be? So the impact of the words is just that little bit. It may be necessary, but it is not the main meal. Mainly it is to introduce you to another way of knowing and therefore another way of being. These words are not meant to make sense, but they are meant to be recognized in the same place where you will know the highest. You see, because the mind, we may make a framework out of it, but it's not satisfactory really. No? Because it's not a concrete pathway. You see? It leaves us into like those movies which don't have a concrete ending. So if you fall in love with that mystery, then that love will help us to stay in that mystery. But for now, it may be enough to say that don't believe that what you perceive and what you think is reality, or at least don't believe that it is the only reality. There is a greater you, there is a greater life, which is beyond concepts and perception. Yeah? So in this moment is all there is only in the play of perception. Are your perceptions all there is right now? हाँ सिर्फ यही है. Then what else is there? हाँ? I've troubled you with this question for at least 1 year in the past. What is here right now besides perception? And how do you know it is? Maybe. There's an elephant on his trunk. She is balancing a grain of sand. Huh? That grain of sand is this universe, which you perceive. What is the elephant? Yeah. How is it known? Yeah. 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 So you had this conversation. That same knife can't cut itself thing. The just comes, I just know, comes because we have valued only thinking and perception. You see, and I've always stayed away from just because that just is the primary. So when we negate it in the form of, oh, I just know, it is because we have not valued that mode of knowledge. We have only valued our perception and thinking. You see, so when aparuksha is made into like a triviality, you see, then that is also a trick of the mind. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, how is like when you say positive knowledge, perception is known. That known part is positive.
So if perception is known, it is unperceived in the sense that it is not known. Perception is not known through perception. I don't see sight. You see sight? Do you hear hearing? If you saw sight, then sight would have a quality. Because what you see has to have an attribute. You see? So, how is perception known? And no, are you saying it is inferred? Because I am perceiving, therefore I must be aware. Is that what you mean? Is it a therefore in the intellect? By positive, I mean that it is recognized, but not perceived. So, how do you know that you are seeing that cloth and not hearing it?
Cloth exists.
Yeah.
I don't use the word seeing.
Yeah.
Sound is here. Then
Yes,
I don't get trapped in that.
So between the hearness of the sound and the absence of the hearing of that sound, what stayed constant? To what do you know? Is it all coming together now? The pathway to sit in the heart temple is the same pathway to the recognition of the highest. Open and empty is the prerequisite. Either way, whether we come to it through remembering God's name or through the process of negation or inquiry. Is it? Now, you can do it the hard way, which is to try with all your might conceptually to understand, or perceptually to try and see. And some do that, like the Zen path is about tiring that whole mechanism out so that you fall into the greater truth. None of the Zen koans, just like the self-inquiry, none of them can be solved in the intellect. What happens is, you let go of your intellect, and that happens either as a bhakta or a jnani. And the beauty of it is that in letting go of the false modes or the tinier modes of knowing and grasping the higher mode of knowing, you don't lose any intelligence or knowledge. You only drop that which is false. We can put that light on now. We drop that which is false and pick up that which is all-inclusive. So it is not true that you won't know, you will be a lost case. In the switchover time, it sometimes feels like that. Yeah? Because we're so used to living on Earth, now we have to live on the moon. It'll suddenly seem different, no? The gravity is different, everything is different. The switchover from head to heart, as poetic as it may sound, is the very basis of even Jnana Yoga. Because the only true knowledge, Atma Gyan, is to be found over there. And just knowing this is not enough. What we have to do? Just knowing this in the sense of, just knowing this conceptually that yes, that is it. We talked about the menu and the food. See? So all of this is inspiration for you to live there. Yeah. So poetically we can say that the beloved lives there, and intellectually we can say that it is the pathway to the ultimate truth. But actually it is beyond expression. It is what we are designed to be. So antarmukhi, sada sukhi, inward facing, always happy, is because we are designed to be that way. And Maya is designed to be an obstacle to our inherent design. Now, try to not know. Satsang is your safe space where you can experiment with this. Look foolish. It doesn't have to translate to anything on the outside anyway, but the mind scares you. No? If I just let go, then let go. Yeah. Don't hold on to any idea or perception. Leave everything free. It's not a meditation. It is a way of life. Not, you can do it like a meditation, that's fine, but don't leave it. Don't leave it. Leave everything. When you have left everything, what do you know? Without picking anything up. When you have left everything, without picking anything up, what do you know? Don't go to the wrong place. The question is not what you think or what do you conclude. Two aspirants went to the Atma, said, Holy Spirit, please teach me. One said, because I know everything that there is to know in every religion of the world. I've studied it for 50 years. The other said that I don't know, without your guidance, I don't know what is the next step I have to take. Which aspirant will be let in the door? Nothing wrong with reading if it brings us to that innocence. If it brings us to pride of knowledge. And pride is what? I know better. But that false knowing we have to draw. Humility is both the allowing of the dropping to happen and also the what happens when the false knowing is dropped. Pride is that idea that the grain of sand sitting on top of the grain of sand thinks that it is as important as the elephant. And in dropping of that idea, it is the recognition of union or oneness with the elephant itself. Yeah. Do we think that this universe is big? To that to whom that is holding it up is not even a speck of dust. And that very one is the one who lives where? Lives in your heart. What are we to do with that privilege? Treasure it. Higher than any other treasure in the world. When we just fall in love, we just want to spend every moment with the beloved. When we get a new toy, something we think is very important, we just want to make sure that it is fine, always be there. You may even get a favorite plant or something, and you may just want to make sure it's getting the right sun, it's getting the right water. Yeah? Our life with God has to become like that. Yeah? That whatever may be happening in the play, if we get lost in it, we just remember, oh, what's happening to my heart? What's happening in my heart? What's my beloved telling me? How many times will we leave this world without knowing and loving the one who lives in our heart? And what is the cost of admission to knowing and loving Him? Love the mystery, and what do you give up? Nothing that is valuable, only the false, only our attachment to our imagined self. The sages are not unmerciful. When they say give up on the me, they're not asking us to give up on anything important. It is because they have seen that it is valueless. It's a child who has become now 30 years old but obsessed with their security blanket. So they carry it around everywhere, business meetings, you know. So the me has outstayed its welcome. It's time to let it go because it is an obstacle to your true life. Mm. Yeah. So who is the elephant in the room? You stand still while this play gets all the attention. Mm. What are you not thinking? Are you thinking about not thinking? Mm. Mm.